All right. So happy Thursday. I think it's going to clear up a little bit later. But as I look out the window, it's nice sometimes with the clouds. I have the flowery trees. They look real extra beautiful, I think, against the dark, a little darker. So for today, we're going to start our crocodile pose. So stack the hands and rest your forehead on the top hand. Or just find a comfortable spot in the arms if for some reason that doesn't feel great for you today. And then spread bring the legs out nice and wide. And then starting this way today, we did this a while back and had a lot of great feedback on it. It is a nice way to start, especially if you want to focus on our deep belly breathing, because we can feel, our abdomen pressing into the mat. It's kind of a helpful tool. And it's also a nice, helpful way to start so we can feel really grounded, because most parts of our body are resting on the mat or the floor. And when we practice a little more grounding in our practice, it's really helpful with easing any anxiety, stress. So just notice where all the parts of your body are touching the floor, all those areas. And just let the weight of your body allow you to sink a little deeper into this pose. And if you need to move a little bit to find the most comfortable spot, just take a little moment or two to do that. And then just breathe. And then once you start to settle and relax, start to focus on that breath. So focus on tapping into that deep belly breathing, and pressing the abdomen, the belly into the mat. And then as you exhale, you'll feel the belly still touching the mat, but your abdominal muscles will pull back in. Allow gravity to press you down, to allow you to sink deeper into your mat. And just a few more rounds of breath here. Then still keeping the upper body relaxed, bend the knees, and just do a nice slow windshield wiper of the legs from side to side. Maybe pointing, flexing the feet or wiggling the ankles around might feel nice. And then release the legs back to the mat. And just start to bring them in a little closer. And then we'll release the hands down to the mat and just slide them down right at the top of the rib cage there. And then pressing into the mat, just slowly press up to tabletop pose. Just take a moment here. And then see if you can bring your knees nice and close together. So we're going to sink back into child's pose, but with our legs close together. And that'll allow the upper back to round a little bit. So just as much as feels comfortable. And then once you sink back to that child's pose, relax your arms. And if your forehead can touch the mat, great. If not, you can stack the hands again and just take a little rest there. And then look up towards the top edge of the mat and walk the hands out, spreading the fingers really wide. And then lift up off the hips a little bit, just so much enough so you can tuck the toes under. And then sink the hips back towards the heels. So we're in this extended closed knee child's pose with the toes tucked under. And then the next time you inhale, belly pulls back towards the spine. So engage those muscles and start to cat round the back as you come up. And then think kneeling plank, which is where we are. Toes are still tucked. Look forward and drop the hips down. Yeah. And then inhale, press into the mat, engage the belly, round the back. So cat rounding the back again, sink back to that child's pose. So this is going to be our flow for several rounds. So take it nice and slow. So inhale to come up, cat rounding the back, tuck the chin into the chest. Take a quick pause and then drop the hips down. And then just start to move back and forth between those two poses, doing that flow, taking your time. And then let's do one more round, and then we'll hold that, basically that little cobra pose. I lost my train of thought there. So hold that cobra pose, looking up. Toes are still tucked under, hips are sinking down. And then press into the hands, just lift the hips up a little bit. So our toes are still tucked, and then knees come off the mat into that high plank. Hold for 3, for 2, and for 1, press back to down dog. And just take some time here, pedal out the heels. Give the head a gentle shake, a gentle nod. And then inhale back into that high plank, high push-up, and drop to your knees, come back to tabletop pose. And then open out to the left side of the mat for a kneeling side plank, So left hand down, right arm reaches up. And then reach the right arm over the right ear, get a good stretch down the right side of the body. So a nice arc in the body. Really focus on pressing into the right foot. And then reach the right arm back up towards the ceiling and lift that right leg up and flex the foot. Hold here. If you want to add the bind in today, feel free to bend the knee and grab for that foot. It's totally optional. And then if you do have the bind, release it out. And we'll all lower down that right leg and come back to tabletop pose. And then inhale to your cow. Exhale to your cat. And then coming back to our neutral spine, let's open out to the left for that kneeling side plank on this side. And then first we'll reach the left arm over, getting that nice stretch. And then left arm reaches up towards the ceiling, lifting up our left leg, flexing the foot. Same thing here, stay like this, or bend that knee and take that bind. And then releasing the bind, if you have it, lower that left leg down. Let's come back to tabletop pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And then slowly make your way back to downward facing dog. And then inhale nice and high on the toes. And just like we did in our child's pose, tuck the chin into the chest and start to round the upper back coming into your high plank. So high plank. And then when you get to that high plank, we're still up on the toes. We're going to drop the hips down. So think up dog. Yeah. Great. And then inhale, hips lift up, come back to down dog. We're just going to do that 2 more times. So it's the same flow like we did in that child's pose, but we're in our plank. So nice and slow, inhale high on the toes, engage the belly, upper back rounds. When you get to your high plank, drop the hips down, look up dog with our toes tucked. Inhale, hips rise back to down dog. And then just one more time. Inhale high on the toes, make your way forward. Drop the hips down, look up. And then press back to downward facing dog. Let's reach the right leg high, bend that knee, take a little hip opener here. Any movement in that leg or ankle that feels good. And then squaring up that right hip, bring the right foot to the top of the mat. And then drop to the left knee, untuck the toes, arms come high. And then bring the hands down by your side and just make fists, bring them to the lower back and squeeze the elbows together. And then gently press the hips forward so you feel a little deeper stretch in the front of that left hip flexor, looking up if it feels okay on your neck. And then slowly release the arms back towards the ceiling. Stay right here, or for an added challenge, you can tuck the back toes under and rise to your high crescent lunge. So wherever you are, focus on that breath. Take one more. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. Step the right foot back to meet the left and flow through your vinyasa. So fuller kneeling, cobra or up dog. And we'll meet back in down dog. Let's take 2 breaths here. If you need cleansing breaths, feel free to take those. And then we'll reach the left leg up, bending the knee, opening that hip. Taking some movement in that leg, maybe that ankle. And then squaring up, bringing the left foot to the top. We'll drop to the right knee, arms come high, looking up. And then making those fists, bringing them to the lower back, elbows squeezed together. Just gently press those hips forward, looking back up if that feels okay. And then releasing the arms back towards the sky, staying here or coming up to that high crescent lunge. A couple more breaths. And then exhale the hands to the mat, step that left foot back to meet the right, flowing through that vinyasa. We'll meet back in down dog. Couple deep breaths here. And then look up in between the hands and just slowly bring those feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Last one here. Inhale and exhale. And then find your ragdoll pose. Make the feet a little wider if that feels better, and grab those elbows. And then release the elbows, fingertips to the mat, and just slowly walk those fingers over to the left side. And take a pause, relax your head. And then let's walk back through center, just inch those fingers over to the right. And then come back through center. Put a good bend in those knees and just slowly roll yourself up to mountain. Arms are heavy, head's heavy. Take your time. And then when you get to that mountain pose, just heel toe the feet back together. Close the eyes for a moment. And then inhale the shoulders up towards the ears, roll them back and down. And let's do that one more time. Inhale up, roll them back and down. Take a deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out. And then open those eyes, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale down into that fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back and flow through. And then meeting in our downward facing dog. Let's take 2 breaths here. And then look up in between the hands, bring the feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Arms rise tall, mountain. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's inhale, back up. Exhale, fold. Back into that half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back. Flow through that vinyasa. Taking a nice deep breath in downward facing dog. And then look up to the top of the mat. Bring the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Arms rise tall, mountain. Let's come right back down on that exhale. Inhaling to our half lift. Exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back, flow through. Downward facing dog. Deep breath in and out. Look up in between the hands, bring the feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Arms rise tall, mountain. Take the right fingers around that left wrist and lengthen straight up towards the ceiling. Take a little hinge to the right. Great, come back through center, switch the grip, lengthen up first, take a little hinge to the left. And then come back through center, arms by your side, chair pose. And then any arm variation that feels best for chair this morning. If your arms or shoulders are tired, you can take cactus arms, hands heart center. But if you're reaching up, turn those pinkies in and focus on really relaxing down. So we're reaching up, pressing those hips down. One more breath. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back, flow through. We'll meet in down dog. And then reach the right leg up. Sweep that foot to the top, warrior one. Great. Take a moment, drop the hands to the hips. Just take a moment and square those hips to the front. Just notice where they are. And while your hips are here, just bend a little deeper in the front knee. So we have that nice alignment, and then reach the arms up and just take a pause. And then lower the hands to the mat, press that right leg back. You can flow through or just rest in down dog. And then let's bring that left foot up. Warrior one. And let's do that little hip check. Take a moment, left hip back, right hip forward, tucking under, bending nice and deep. And then once you feel all that's ready to go, reach the arms up. Lower the hands to the mat and make your way back to down dog, either flowing through to get there or stepping back. And then take a moment in this down dog. Scan the body. Take a little pedal of the heels again, shake the head if you need. Any movement that you need to take. And then reach that right leg back up. Let's bring that foot to the top and come back to that warrior one. Warrior one. And you can certainly do the hip check again, or just notice where those hips are. Bend nice and deep, and then bring the arms out like cactus. And then we're going to keep the legs right where they are. On your next in-breath, reach the arms up. And then exhale, come back to those cactus arms, but then think squeeze the elbows in towards the rib cage. So we're not coming all the way down, but that's the motion. So the upper back, you can feel that squeeze together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus arms, squeeze those elbows down. One more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, cactus arms. And then drop the hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers and set up for humble warrior. So if you need to bring that right foot out a little. And then shoulders back and down, look up. And then make your way down. Keep the bend in the right knee. Pull the left hip forward. 2 more breaths. And then release the bind from behind the back, hands to the mat. Make your way to lizard pose. So you might need to scoot that left leg back a little, drop the left knee down, and bring that right foot out towards the edge of the mat. You can stay up on the hands or lower deeper onto the forearms, or rest on that block. If you'd like to add movement in, you can certainly do a little sway from side to side. Just keep lots of energy in that right foot. And then if you're not up on your hands, come back up on the hands. And then just straighten that right leg. So think half split, but we're in our lizard pose. And then flex the right toes towards the body. And then bend back into that right knee. Let's come off the left knee. So lizard lunge. And then walk around to the left side of the mat. And then turn the heels in, toes out. And we're just going to do a little side to side bend. So take it as slow or as, as fast as you need to. Just go side to side. And as you move back and forth, you may be able to get a little deeper. Maybe those toes start to lift up. And then the next time you come to that bend in the left knee, come into your Skandasana pose and hold there. Anything you want to do with the arms. Let's take one more breath. And then slowly make your way back around to the top of the mat. And then step the right foot back to meet the left, flowing through your Vinyasa. And we'll meet in down dog. Nice deep breath in and out. Let's reach that left leg up. Bring that foot to the top, rise to that warrior one. And then taking those cactus arms, nice deep bend in the front knee. And then keeping our legs nice and grounded. Inhale, reach up with the arms. Exhale, elbows come down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, squeeze together. Great, one more time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, squeeze, hold here. And then lower the arms. Interlace the fingers behind the back, humble warrior. And when you're ready, make your way down. Nice and slow. Relaxing the head and neck when you get there. Pull that right hip forward. Squeeze the left knee in towards that left shoulder. Two more breaths. And then releasing that bind, hands to the mat, finding our lizard pose. So inch that right foot back, left foot out towards the edge, drop that right knee down. And then find your lizard on this side. Remembering to keep that left foot active. And then let's come up onto those hands if you're not there. We'll straighten that left foot, so half split in our lizard pose. And then bending back into that left knee. Let's tuck the back toes under, come off that right knee, and we'll walk around to the right side of the mat. And we're just gonna set up for that little side to side motion again. So heels are in, toes are out. And just start that movement, bending side to side. Again, maybe the toes start to lift up. If you want to make this side a little more core work, add that in too. You can bring the hands to heart center and come a little higher. So just take a few more rounds. And then the next time you get to that bend in the right knee, we'll move into our Skandasana pose. Holding here. One more breath. And then slowly start to make your way back around to the top of the mat. Stepping that left foot back, meeting the right, and flowing through. And then meeting in down dog. Let's bring the right leg up to the sky. Sweep that foot to the top of the mat. And then pause in your low lunge, and we'll add a twist in. Left hand down, right arm sweeps up. And then lower the right hand down, come back to that low lunge. So really ground down into the right foot. And then let your fingers come off the mat. So let them like just hover, you just want to swing side to side. Really engage the back leg. And then reach the arms back like airplane arms. And then think warrior three. So when you're ready, make your way to warrior three. So we're rooted down into that front foot. Now we try and float that back leg up. Tap it down as much as you need, just to get yourself lifted. And then when you're there, flex the left foot, chest is lifted. 2 more breaths. Drop the left toes down, high crescent lunge, arms come high. Take a pause. Ground down into that right foot. Bring the arms back to airplane arms. We're gonna come back to our warrior three. So when you're ready, make your way there. A couple more breaths. You can change the arm position here if you prefer. And then let's come back to that high crescent lunge. Wow. And we'll open out to warrior two. Nice wide stance, holding here. Great. Let's straighten the front leg. Turn to the long side of the mat. We're going to set up for goddess pose. So heels in, toes out. You're already here down in our low side to side lunge. And then keep your hands on your hips. Sink down, goddess pose. So we're just going to stay here with the hands gently resting on the thighs or the hips, but try not to squeeze on real tight. Just let them be nice and light. And see if you can sink a little lower. And then we'll just hold. You know, a lot of times we add in, arm movement or heels, but we're just going to hold today on this side. Hold. Maybe you can sink a little lower as you are settling into this. Make sure you're breathing. Just a couple more breaths. And then let's slowly straighten those legs. And adjust the feet so we're back to warrior two. Flip the front palm, reverse your warrior. And then come back to warrior two. Let's straighten the front leg and make our way to triangle pose. And then let's drop that top arm down behind the back today. So maybe the back of the hand rests on the lower back, or those left fingers might rest on that right thigh. So just pull that left shoulder back. See if you can look towards it. If you need a core challenge today, and you know, have a variation that you like, feel free to add that in. Couple more breaths. Let's all release the arms back to our triangle arms. Inhale to come up, flip that palm, reverse your triangle. And then cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Right leg presses back, option for that vinyasa. Coming back to downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. Reach that left leg high. Sweep that foot to the top, low lunge. Right hand down, left arm sweeps up, taking that twist. And then lowering that hand down, get grounded in that left foot, engage the back leg. And then lift those fingers off the mat, just let the arms dangle. Let them gently sway forward and back for a moment. Really root down, and then reach the arms back behind you, airplane arms. And then look forward, look up. When you're ready, float to that warrior three. You find your balance, flex that right foot. A couple more. Let's come back down to our high crescent one. Arms reach high. And then get situated. Bring the arms back like airplane arms. Extending forward, come back to your warrior three. And again, you can move the arms around here for the second one if you like, or keep them right where they are. Just a couple more breaths. And then let's come back to our high lunge, opening to warrior two. It's taking a few breaths here. Relax the shoulders. And then we'll straighten the left leg. Let's turn to the right side on that. We're going to set up for another goddess pose. Same thing, hands to the thighs. We'll just let them rest on the hips. And then when you're ready, sink down. Maybe a little lower. And then take your fingers to the inside of your knee and just gently press those legs open a little bit. It's probably just like a little micro movement, press them open. You can leave them there or place them back to your thighs. Couple more breaths. Two more. Slowly straighten those legs. Come back to warrior two. Flip that palm, reverse your warrior. And then come back to warrior two, straightening that front leg, triangle pose. Drop that top arm down behind the back. Really pull that right shoulder back. See if you can look to the back of the room. One more. And then release the right arm back up towards the ceiling. Inhale to rise, flip that palm, reverse your triangle. And then cartwheel the hands down to the mat. Left leg presses back. Option to flow through. And then we'll drop to our knees and find a puppy pose. Take a drink if you need, or a towel off first. And then come into that puppy dog pose. And then start to make your way back to downward facing dog. And then look up in between the hands and bring those feet to the top of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Make your way to Malasana pose. Let's bring the hands together, heart center for a moment if you need to wiggle out the wrists or do anything that to release any pressure, hands, arms, feel free to do that. Another good place to take a drink. And then we'll all release the hands to the mat. So we're in our Malasana legs, Malasana pose. The next time you inhale, straighten the legs, come into a fold. Keep the legs where they are. Exhale, sink back to Malasana pose. Inhale, straighten those legs, Malasana fold. Inhale, back to Malasana. And then inhale, straighten the legs. Hold here. Start to heel toe those feet together. Big toes touching if you can. Hips sink down, chair pose, hands to heart center. Twist to the right. So palms can stay together here, or feel free to open those arms to deepen. And then if the arms are open, palms back together, slowly unwind. Exhale to fold. Step back with the left foot and come into warrior one. And then straighten the front leg, setting up for pyramid pose. And then when you're ready, inhale to look up. And then exhale over that right leg. Remember, you can use blocks or any other items to support those fingers. Relax the head. And then inhale to come up onto the fingertips. So nice flat back. Leave the left hand down. Let's reach the right arm up for a little revolved pyramid. You can deepen by moving the left hand to the outside of the right foot or the block to the outside of the right foot if you're using that. And then slowly lower the arms. So both hands are down. Put a little micro bend in that front knee and come onto the ball of the back foot. Bring the hands to heart center. So we're kind of in this low lunge here with our hands at heart center. And then look forward and we'll find one more warrior three. Back leg lifts up. You can keep the hands here or reach them out behind you for those airplane arms. One more breath. And then we'll slowly rise to stand, left foot meets the right. Give a little shake. And then bring those palms together back at heart center. Let's pull the right knee into the chest, flex the foot. You can move around here too if you need support on the wall or piece of furniture. And then cross the right ankle over the left thigh and sit back. So let's stretch that right hip. So anything you want to do here, your favorite thing to do in your standing figure four. So maybe it's keeping the hands here. You can reach the arms out and press those hips back a little more. Or maybe you just want to bring the hands to the floor or blocks. Sometimes it's nice to do a little movement from side to side. You can add in a twist with the right hand down, left arm up. And certainly if an arm balance is calling you today, feel free to do that. Let's take one more breath. And then we're going to release into a forward fold. Separate those feet a little bit. Take your peace fingers around your big toes. Come back into a half lift and exhale a little deeper into that fold. And then release those toes, hands to the mat. Heel toe the feet out nice and wide and come back to Malasana pose. We can bring the hands to heart center for a moment. We're just staying for a breath or two. And then release the palms to the mat. We're going to just do that little flow again. So on your inhale, press into the hands, straighten the legs, our little Malasana fold. Sink the hips back down, come back to Malasana. Just keep the hands on the mat. Nice and slow. Inhale, press, come back into that fold. Exhale, sink the hips down, look up. One more time, press into those hands. Sink the hips down, hold here. And then straighten the legs. Start to heel toe the feet together. And then we'll rise to that chair pose. Hips sink down, arms reach high. Hands to heart center, twist left, right elbow, left thigh. Same thing here, to keep the palms together, or you can open to deepen. Couple more breaths. And then let's unwind, hands to the mat. We'll step that right foot back and rise to our warrior one. And then setting up for our pyramid pose, arms drop down, left leg straightens. When you're ready, inhale, look up. And then exhale over that left leg. One more breath here. And then come up onto the fingertips. We'll leave our right hand down, sweeping that left arm up for our revolved pyramid. If you'd like to deepen, you can bring that right hand or the block to the outside of the left foot. And then lower the left hand down. Put a little bend in that front knee, come onto the ball of the back foot. And then hands together at heart center. Float your way to your warrior three. And then move the arms around if you like on this side. 2 more breaths. And then we'll rise to stand, right foot meets the mat. Bring that left knee into the chest. Yeah, shake it out if you need. And then we'll cross that left ankle over, coming to that figure 4 on this side. Taking any pose or arm position that feels best on your left side here. So as long as it feels good, wherever you're getting the best stretch, that's where you should stay. Take one more breath. And then let's release back into that fold, keeping a little space in between the feet. And then take any variation here, maybe gorilla pose, maybe you grab behind the ankles or heels or ragdoll. Just take another forward fold. And then we'll all release the hands to the mat. Put a little bend in the knees, and we'll roll ourselves up to mountain pose. And then bring the feet back a little closer together. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold back into that half lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back and flow through. And then reaching our right leg high, bring that foot to the top, high crescent lunge. And then moving into our twist, palms come together, left elbow to right thigh. Keep a nice bend in the front knee so you can really engage the back leg. And then deepen here, maybe open the arms. Take a bind if you like. Really press that left tricep into the right thigh so you can open out a little more, so a little deeper. And just twist it all out. Get rid of anything you're holding on to, anything negative. And then palms back together. Slowly unwind hands to the mat. Walk around to the left side. Come into your wide-legged fold. Relax down. And then inhale to a half lift. Come back around to the top of the mat. Step the right foot back to meet the left. Come into your plank. And then lower down to tabletop pose. Come down onto the forearms. Spread the fingers wide. We're going to move to our dolphin pose. So if you prefer to interlace the fingers, feel free to do that. When you're ready, tuck the toes under, hips lift high, dolphin pose. Really press into the forearms here. Keep your head relaxed. And then maybe you can tiptoe those feet in a little bit. Just do a little at a time. And if you feel you have a little more to give, maybe you walk them in a little more. Two more breaths. And then inch those toes back out, knees come down, child's pose, relax your arms. And then slowly make your way back to down dog. Let's reach the left leg up. Bring that foot to the top. High crescent lunge. Hands to our heart, moving into our twist. And then really focusing on deepening this twist. So creating more space so you can bring that rib cage over. Open the arms if you like. And if you are opening, really press that right tricep into the left thigh. Give yourself some more room. You can certainly do that with the palms together. So focus on that action as well. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly unwind. Hands to the mat. We'll walk around to the right side. Wide-legged fold. So before we relax down, let's take a little wide leg downward facing dog. So legs are nice and wide. Walk the hands out and just press that chest down towards the mat. And then walk those hands back in and sink a little deeper into that fold. So anything you want to do with the arms from here, you can grab the ankles or peace fingers around the big toes. If you like a bind behind the back, you can take that. And then certainly if you like to go upside down, you can go upside down here. And then let's bring our hands underneath our shoulders. We'll walk back around to the top of the mat. Left foot steps back to meet the right, coming into our plank. Knees come down, lower down on the forearms. So one more dolphin pose from here. When you're ready, tuck those toes under, lift the hips up. And then you can practice tiptoeing those feet in again, or maybe today you practice lifting one leg and then the other. So just take it to where you need today, what your body needs. Couple more breaths. Stay strong, press into those forearms. And then slowly, slowly, knees drop down, come back to child's pose. Relax the arms. And then let's slowly make our way back to down dog. So we can transition to the top of the mat. So when you're ready, bring the feet up to meet the hands and find your Malasana pose. So our last Malasana today. So feel free to stay here in Malasana or work on your crow pose. Or maybe today you might want to try working on that baby crow pose. So that's when we come down onto our, our forearms. Fingers spread wide, so we should be pretty ready to practice that if we'd like. So if you want to try that, we're really super low to the mat. So we still come up onto those toes and get the knees right up on the triceps there. And same action, belly up and in, we look forward, but we're super, super low here. So you kind of hover over the mat. So lots of options. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. So if you have that jump back and you want to jump back to there, or we'll just step back and meet there. And then let's inhale high on our toes and come forward into our high plank. And very slowly, just lower all the way down to the mat and rest on one cheek. Just relax the arms and legs, just keep them totally, totally relaxed. Take a moment here. If you need to bend the knees, some windshield wiper, do that. And if you are resting on one cheek, switch to the other side. And then let's bring our forehead or chin together, and we'll set up for our locust pose. So legs are nice and tight, tops of the feet to the mat. On your next in-breath, make your way up to your locust pose. Breathing deep into the belly, so you should feel ourselves rocking back and forth a little bit or up and down. And then lower down, rest on one cheek. Excuse me. And then let's set up for another. So same one, or if you want to add that bind in, or you can even take cactus arms here in your locust pose. So when you're ready, come on back up to your second one. So you can get a little bit higher. And then lower down, take a pause. And then we'll set up for one more today. So either version of your locust, any version of your locust. If you'd like to work on bow pose, you can work on bow pose. And if you're just totally done, feel free to come to crocodile pose and take a rest there. So when you're ready, decide where you'd like to go and then make your way back up. Great. See if you can get a tiny, tiny bit higher. Relax your jaw, make sure you're not clenching the teeth. 2 more breaths. And then we'll all release out to our crocodile pose. Maybe stack the other hand on top. So if you happen to remember which one you use in the beginning of practice, or it's typically the one we usually go to. See if you can switch it up. And then bend the knees, just give them a little wag from side to side. And then release the legs down, bring them together, hands to the mat. And let's press ourselves back up through table to downward facing dog so we can set up for our pigeon pose. And if you prefer to do pigeon on your back, you can just come on around your back now. And we'll start with that right leg. Bringing the right knee behind the right wrist, or if you're on your back, cross that right leg over the left thigh. And then really extend back through this left leg before you lower down. So if you need to tuck those toes under, you can do that to shift back a little bit. Maybe bring that left leg a little more to center. And then keeping that spine nice and long, you can deepen however feels best. Just relax. And if you need a shoulder, more of a shoulder stretch today, a little more, you can thread the needle here in your pigeon by bringing that left arm under, just resting down, just an option. And then slowly start to make your way up. And then just shift over to this right hip, just enough so you can swing this left leg around. We're just setting up for a twist. So that left leg will cross over. And if you need to straighten the right leg, feel free to do that. So up nice and tall here. We'll bring the right hand behind. Left hand behind. Right arm reaches up. And then we'll come into that twist. Remember, stay up nice and tall and then really focus on pressing that right tricep into that left leg so we can create a little more room. And then let's unwind through center. Let's just walk those hands over to the right. And then coming back to the front of the mat, just shift back, uncross the legs, bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Setting up for our reverse table. So fingers pointing in if you can, or if that's not comfortable, find a better position for the hands. And when you're ready, press up, let the head drop back slightly. Then lower those hips down. We're just going to swing the legs around so we can set up for our pigeon on the other side. So our left leg will reach up. Bring that left knee up behind that left wrist. And then remember to get that right leg situated before you deepen this pose. Lengthening back, bringing it in a little closer to the center. If you added that thread the needle on the other side, you can slide that right arm under and rest down on that right cheek at the side of the head. And slowly make your way up. Let's just shift over to that left hip so we can swing that right leg around. Setting up for our twist. Remember, you can straighten that left leg if that's better. And then we'll bring that right hand behind, left arm reaches up. Moving into that twist. And then let's unwind, just walk those fingers over to the left. And then come back to center. Let's uncross those legs. This time we'll extend them straight out in front. Bringing the hands next to the hips, flex the feet, sit up nice and tall. Inhale those arms up. Exhale, fold forward. You can use a strap here or a towel to give a little extra arm length if you need. And then inhale to lengthen, look up a little bit, and then reach the chest towards those feet. Maybe do that again. Inhale, look up. Lengthen through the crown of the head, lengthen through the spine, reach towards the feet. And then walk those hands back up. Bring the soles of the feet together, just come into a bound angle pose. And then play around with how close you like the heels into the groin area there. And just gently grab the feet, still stay up nice and tall. Let the knees get a little closer down to the mat. And you can stay upright here, or if you feel you would like to add a little more of a fold into this, you can inch those hands out a little at a time. And then if you did walk the hands forward, bring them back up, and let's bring those knees up, soles of the feet onto the mat, and then slowly make your way down onto the back. And then either find a waterfall pose or work on your shoulder stand. Remember, if you have that waterfall pose, feel free to wiggle the ankles around and move the feet. And if you do not want to take an inversion today, also, just remember you can come into a nice supported bridge or a climb down angle. So take what you need today. You can also scoot over to the wall or couch or chair and lift those legs up. And if you are in shoulder stand and want to work on your plow, you can start to move there now. And just take a few breaths. And then let's all start to make our way out. So if you're coming out of shoulder stand, you can come into your fish pose, or you can come to recline down angle. And if your legs are up in the air, let's lower those legs and come to our recline down angle. Hands on the abdomen, or you can reach the arms overhead for a little bit of a stretch in the arms and shoulders. Just keep it relaxed, so keep the arms onto the mat or floor if you're doing that. And if you are in your fish pose, just make your way out, come into recline bound angle. And then let's bring those knees up, give them a little hug into the chest. And take a happy baby pose. Feel free to straighten the legs today if you prefer to have them straight for a little extra inner thigh stretch. And then let's release that out. Bring the feet to the mat, arms out like a T. Drop those knees to the left. Come into that twist. And then come back through center. Just drop your knees to the right. And then come back through center. Hug those knees in nice and tight again. So get yourself in a nice tight ball. Maybe you rock side to side or just make some little circles. And then release that out and take a full body stretch. So extend those legs nice and long, arms overhead. And then inch those heels over to the left side, stack that right foot on top of the left. And then take that little C stretch, that little banana pose. So you can grab that right wrist with the left hand, just a little gentle tug. And then back through center, we'll just switch sides, stack that left ankle on top, gently grab that left wrist. And then releasing out back to center again. Starting to make your way to your Shavasana, your final rest. If there's any one last thing you need to do or you need to add any layers before you settle in, and just take a moment to go there. And then find your rest. And just like we did in the beginning of practice, notice where all those parts of your body are connected to your mat, to the floor. Just really allow gravity to pull you down, almost like you're becoming part of that mat or part of your floor, the surrounding. Just really let yourself be super, super heavy. And let the face be totally relaxed. If you need to softly part the lips to relax the jaw, feel free to do that. And then find some quiet. Start to deepen your breath. Just keep the body nice and still for a few more moments. And then become a little more aware of your surroundings. And then start to allow movement to make its way back in, starting slow, small, and then making the movements gradually larger. And take your time, there's no rush. If you need to stay still a little longer, then just stay there. And then once those movements become large enough that you can roll to your side and take a pause in that nice fetal position, nice relaxing like you just woke up. And then we'll meet in a nice easy seat, bringing the hands together at our heart center, just taking a moment to feel the results of our practice. Feeling a little more grounded, calm. And then let's take one more breath together today, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then we'll bow forward to seal in our practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Have a wonderful rest of your week, a holiday weekend. Namaste.
Thanks, Dee. That was great.
Thanks. Thanks for coming. Namaste.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to you.